Beyond Emissions by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Brumm, Energy Storage Manager here with Soligent, also as well host of the Beyond Emissions podcast at the Beyond Emissions platform at the Soligent YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below. Be a part of this ongoing conversation, this effort of creating an emissions-free future. What does Beyond Emissions mean for you? And today we're going to have an awesome guest on the program where I learned a lot about Beyond Emissions and how to create a Beyond Emissions future. And that is creating off-grid systems, battery-based systems, solar systems, and inverters, and just all the stuff that you learn about when you first get into this business. It's very, very confusing because we're in a world normally of grid tie only solar. And, when you get into battery-based systems, it's a whole nother animal. It's all about math, energy in versus energy out, load evaluations, all that good stuff. We're going to talk about that today with our special guest, in addition to some amazing new technologies available at Soligent. Click on the link below and get your Outback Power solutions today. Click on the link below to find out more. Today on the program, Ryan Warrick. He is Regional Sales Manager for the Western United States of America. Welcome to the Beyond Emissions podcast, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Josh.
My pleasure. Thanks for joining us on the program and your awesome support from Outback Power. Now, for our listeners, you just heard me ask the question, what does Beyond Emissions mean to you? We ask it every week. Ryan, what does Beyond Emissions mean for you?
Wow, coming from Outback Power, I think you could answer that in several different ways. Those who are familiar with us, and we can get into that in a little bit, we were known as the masters of the off-grid. We actually trademarked that term when Outback Power started back in 2001. And really, our company started to address the needs of people who had no grid-tied connection, the cabins in the wood, if you will, that really had no electrical power. And so that's where we cut our teeth. But as the market has changed and the global initiative for climate change has also adapted to that, we've adapted along with that, and we see a lot of customers in urban areas now also looking for energy storage, and we've tried to meet those needs through our grid-based battery storage systems as well through Outback Power. So I would say there's a bunch of different tiers to that question, but I see it as an evolving market each and every day almost as the demand for energy storage increases.
Right. The people that want to participate in the battery-based systems are not just off-gridders anymore. It's
correct.
Yeah. The grid-tied systems, etc. As a matter of fact, I remember when I first got into this part of the business, I worked at a battery company. I've just batteries. I love batteries. I'm a nerd. And again, folks, Ryan Warrick with us from Outback Power, our special guest today on the Beyond Emissions by Soligent podcast. Welcome to the show. Yeah, it's something that, was foreign. I sold batteries. That's all I did. Just nothing but batteries my whole life. Every kind of battery you could imagine. And I got into the solar market trying to start offering batteries, selling batteries. That was a salesperson, right? That was my goal. Let's go sell. And rather than selling $400 starting batteries at a time, working my butt off every single stop, why not sell a $30,000 system, right? You put in the same amount of work. I just did the math in my head. Why don't I figure this out? And I started talking to all the solar companies and, well, that would be great, but we don't know. Do you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to learn. So I made it my mission, Ryan, to learn, right? Education. And Outback Power at that time, and still is, now owned by Enersys, I believe, right? Yeah. Yes, Enersys, yes, one of the top battery manufacturers in the world. Again, available right here at Soligent. Get your Outback Power and Enersys battery energy storage solutions available. Click on the link below right here at Soligent today. I needed to learn, Ryan, and I said, you know what? Outback is the place to go. I'm going to see if I can go to a class and just absorb what I can. Pardon the battery charging knowledge there.
No, of course.
Vernacular absorbing. Bulk absorb and float. So, yeah, for those of you who are on the call that are installers, you know what we're talking about. It's funny to you. Anywho, I was excited. I was nervous. I went up there to Arlington, Washington. I think you said you're in Tempe, Arizona for all your classes now. By the way, Outback Power, if you want to learn, even if you're installing other stuff, not that I'm implying they should, I'm just saying, regardless, the knowledge that comes out of this class and their teachers and the experts in the room that are in the class, you learn so much. I went to 3 week-long classes up in Arlington, Washington, 3 of them. And I can't thank Outback Power enough. First of all, your hospitality when you're up there at these classes, they're amazing. The people you get to meet, you hire the most amazing teachers. And you know, they get up there with a wealth of knowledge, and, you know, they will take their time to, you know, they'll take their time to, I don't have the answer for that yet. Let me write it down. I'll find out the next day you get in the class. Hey, before we start the class, I got an answer for that. Here it is. I mean, yeah. Wow. Just learn so much. Education is key with Outback Power, making sure that your people and your customers are educated as well, right? Talk a little bit about that.
Exactly. And, you know, it's interesting. You mentioned traveling up to Arlington and I think Arizona a little bit. So you're right. We did remove our renewable headquarters to Tempe, Arizona. I believe it's a 40,000 square foot property. So we've got both virtual training there and in-person training as well. We actually have a training lab with live equipment that you can work your way around. And so, you know, I would encourage a lot of your listeners too, if they cannot make it up to Washington or to Tempe, Arizona, check out our YouTube channel. We have a wealth of information, just like the classes you talked about, now available completely for free on YouTube. We have a gentleman named Jorge Guzman that runs something called Watch School. And basically anything you would want to know about any Outback Power related equipment, from installation to why you would pick one over another, is all on there on our YouTube channel. So you're right. Good people at Outback running the training department. Yeah.
And in addition, when you go to Watts School, which if you check it out on YouTube, it's Watts School. Let me figure that out here. Watts School. I think I got that correct. Is it Watts School or Watts School?
Well, it's Watts, like WATTS, right? School. But okay. We have an Outback Power YouTube channel. Would probably be the easiest way to find us.
Outback Power YouTube channel. We'll get everybody all fired up about it here. I love it.
All right.
I love it. I'm seeing if I could find something quick that we could just share real quick. Very cool.
Well, some of the installer testimonials on our new Mojave system are about 3-minute videos, and those are interesting because you get to see from an installer standpoint the ease of working with that system. We've heard you can install that in about 3 hours or less from a number of installers, and you can see some of those testimonials there on how that whole process went. So,
ooh, Mojave, that's right. I mean, that's a really cool deal. Matter of fact, I'm going to pot down your volume here for just a moment.
Sure.
Do me a favor. Actually, you're going to have full volume, so please don't be loud in the background. We want to go ahead and play this. I love it. Here, about 3 minutes long, Mojave Energy Storage Systems case study video available, the Outback Power YouTube channel. Sit tight, and you'll have to keep your volume down if you don't mind. Mute until we come back. Ryan Warrick with us from Outback Power here on the Soligent's Beyond Emissions podcast. Here, just a moment. Let's go ahead and listen to what the installer has to say. Check it out. Just a moment.
San Diego is unique. We have a lot of the East County of San Diego has power shutoffs because of the utility companies with the high winds, the Santa Ana winds that come through here. So energy storage helps with, it just helps with all the power shutdowns that we have through the whole county. And here you can last up to a week at some points in time. So, my name is Jake Taylor. I own Taylor Electric. We're here in East County, San Diego, installing a solar system. We got 54 Panasonic LG panels going in. We have a Mojave and with one of the 14.8 kilowatt hour batteries. And so here we're installing for a couple of reasons. Again, this is a high wind area. So this is one of the areas where in times of Santa Ana winds, high winds, that the SDG&E, the power company, will shut down for, in essence, for safety for everybody out here. So it's not uncommon to have power shut out for, anywhere between a couple hours to 2-3 days. It's been up to 4 or 5 days at a time. So we're in a gated community on a golf course. It's not necessarily something that, that they're looking for here. Chose to go with the Mojave just because it's slicker and it looks cool. And, but it's also, the AC coupled things easy. We actually were on a different job this morning. We came here at noon, and in the time of noon, we actually got this thing installed and up and running. So we did that in one day. The installation of it was super, super easy. We did it in just a few hours.
Wow, just a few hours. Ryan Warrick from Outback Power with us here at the Beyond Emissions podcast, listening to a testimonial of an installer who installed the Mojave system. Available, Outback Power, Mojave Energy Storage Solutions, available right now at Soligent. Click on the link below to find out more. That's a fast install, Ryan. Talk about that, man.
Was it Jake Taylor that you listened to there?
I think so. I didn't see the name, but yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Down in San Diego.
Exactly. That's Jake Taylor. He was one of the early adapters of our Mojave system. So, Jake's great. He's had years of experience with our other Outback Power legacy products, and he really liked the simplicity of this system and the capability and how it's really, still serves your off-grid customer like all our Outback Power products do, but is really more tailored to that demand charge time of use kind of situation that you're seeing more here in Southern California. So, it was a great video.
Some of the engineering, all of the rest of the world, in this business has kind of had a chance to let Outback do it first and then come in and take some of it and incorporate it into what they do. But realistically, Outback Power really has led the way. I mean, talk a little bit about that. I know that you've probably been privy to some of the history of Outback Power. When people think of Outback, they think of Outback Steakhouse. Yeah, mate, what they don't realize is we're going to go out back. I think it goes back to Xantrax, correct? Or talk a little bit.
So.
For our listeners who are just tuning in right now to hear us here at the Beyond Emissions podcast, Ryan Warrick, Western United States Regional Sales Manager. Here on the program. Get your Outback Power Solutions available today. Click on the link below and get your Outback Power Solutions available today from Soligent. Okay, so talk a little bit about that. Especially, I know a lot of people know the background and the history. I heard about the story when I went up to Outback to the classes. But the history of Outback Power, talk a little bit about that for our listeners.
So just to give you kind of a brief history, Outback was founded, like you said, in Arlington, Washington in 2001, I believe. And like I said, they were known as the masters of the off-grid. And really what they cut their teeth on was the hybrid inverter. They were actually the innovator of the hybrid inverter, meaning they were one of the first, if not the first, I believe, to have full generator integration into our systems. So it was a different way of looking at energy storage because formerly, if you were off-grid, you used the generator for all your power needs, which can become very costly with fuel expenses. Whereas integrating a generator into your battery storage system allows you to use a much smaller generator that isn't intended to power your loads, but it's intended to recharge your batteries so your system can continue working until the sun comes back up to recharge your batteries the next day. So that's really what they got their start with. A lot of people might be familiar with our FXR series of inverters. That's really what we sold for a very long time until about 2010 when we were acquired by Alpha Technologies. So Alpha Technologies, a company that's also located in Washington, although in Bellingham, Washington, but they have manufacturing capabilities and plants in Suwanee, Georgia, and Canada, and several other locations as well. And they really invested heavily into Outback Power when they acquired us. And that's when we came out with the Radian series inverter that I think probably most people associate with Outback Power. So again, full generator connectivity, 8 kilowatt inverter. We still offer that inverter even today. But from there on, we were acquired, you're right, by Enersys in 2018. For those of you that aren't familiar with Enersys, it's a tier 1, $4 billion publicly traded company, global company, and they have their hands in everything from motive power, forklifts, defense, medical industry. I believe the Webb telescope that's exploring the outer reaches of the galaxy is powered by Enersys batteries. And again, they've invested heavily in Outback Power as well. And that's what brought us to the Mojave platform that we're currently working with today. And, we continue to develop even beyond that. We're working on everything from electrical vehicle chargers to smart panels that would replace the main panel in your home to whole home energy backup software. So it's been a great partner to work with Enersys, and the depth and breadth of that company is behind all our warranties as well. And I think that's important from an installer and a customer's perspective that, a lot of these companies come and go. Outback's been around for over 20 years, and we're now backed again by the full strength of Enersys. So,
yeah. And Enersys, energy storage wise, one of my biggest mentors, taught me so much in my early years as a battery salesperson. Jeremy Cordray works over at Enersys in the transportation division. Learn so much. And to know that you're backed by a company like Enersys that just is nothing but batteries. I mean, it just makes so much sense. And how perfect.
Right.
And by the way, again, folks, you can get these energy storage solutions, Outback ESS solutions available right here at Soligent. Click on the link below. Now, I was going a little deeper. The old company, it was Santrax, right? The original.
And I'd like to hear what you heard in the class. I'm curious exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't have the beep, so I can't. I'm not going to cuss. So you're just going to have to know that when I say the forget you, you just know I'm like CeeLo, What was said originally was the other word, the other F word.
Gotcha.
So what happened is this is the story I heard from Roy Nguyen, the professor there that was teaching us at the Outback Power class. And he said, what happened is the folks who were working there at Xantrax went out back to discuss starting their own company, which was Outback. That's why they called it Outback, because they would go out back to talk about it. And so it has nothing to do with Australia. And when they came up with the again, this is just a story I was told. Whether it's true or not, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. When they came up with the FX series, they called it FX because they were saying forget Xantrax. F Xantrax. Let's use your imagination. They were saying, Xantrax. Again, I don't know if that's for sure, but I have a feeling, knowing a lot of engineers who are my friends, their sense of humor, that makes total sense. I've
heard a similar story to that myself, so I wouldn't doubt if that's too far from the truth.
Oh, that's funny. And it's something that, you still see out today. Right now, you'll see the FX inverters still selling a lot of the flex power all-in-one systems with the VFXR 3648 -01 now, 3.6 kilowatt, 48 volt inverters, and you can have them stacked in 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the flex power all-in-one systems. And the flex power systems come with the FM80 80-150 VDC MPPT charge controllers, your hub, which is where everything connects, like they had a hub 4, now I think it's a 10.3. The FNDC, which is the the shunt that basically manages the tracking of everything. The Mate 3, which is the programmer where everything's programmed. And very cool. Very cool. And you could stack that to 1 inverter, 2 inverters, 3 inverters, 4 inverters. I think you could stack it even further than that. But for flex power systems, I think you just have an FP4 I believe,
Well,
correct?
and what's nice about those too is, it comes in several different formats. So there's just the regular FXR, but that one I've actually seen a commercial because it's sealed, right? And so I've seen a video where they put that on the front of, I believe, a Land Cruiser. They drove it through the Outback of actual Australia, being Outback Power. We thought that'd be fitting. And, they took that thing through water and dirt and the desert and everywhere. And they took it off the front of the truck at the end, started it up, no problems at all. Started it up first try. So that's the sealed version. But we do have a vented FXR as well as a marine-grade FXR. And that's actually our only inverter that, you're right, if you stack 3 of those, it's capable of 3-phase power as well.
That's something that's real important right now with people that are looking to have 3-phase backup power. Let's say they don't need to power any motor loads, and all they need is 3-phase power for some IT, computers and stuff like that, where they have some storage, and that's all they need it for. Let's say 3-phase. I mean, you could literally take 3 of those and get your 3-phase. What, 208? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool. And the cool thing about that is you don't have to have a high DC voltage battery bank.
Correct.
It's still 48 volt nominal, which makes it a lot easier to make something like that happen, right?
Yeah, and we see a lot of people pairing the single FXR inverters at telecom sites as well, too, on a lot of these remote sites that have, AGM or leaded batteries as backup for those kind of sites as well. So.
Right. And when I was in Bellingham, I took the tour of the Outback power plant, Alpha. Mm-hmm. And, we went around and, we were shown, technically this part comes from overseas, but it's brought here and it's combined with this and we put it together and technically it complies as USA made. I know that right now, if it's USA made, in certain circumstances under the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, that there are some incentives for U.S.-made renewable energy materials. Outback Power has a lot of products that qualify, right?
You're correct. In fact, all of our products are assembled here in the U.S. So everything from our Mojave platform to our Legacy Radiant, the FXRs, all assembled here in the U.S. And you're right, they do qualify for some of those incentives as well.
Wow. That's awesome. It's huge, especially right now. Everyone's rushing back their factories to the United States, and it kind of gives you a bit of a head start, right? Any target customers that are installers that are listening right now might want to say, you know what, that's the type of customer I want to offer an Outback solution to. Talk a little bit about that. The type of accounts or the type of customers that our installers should be looking to pair up with Mojave and Outback Power Solutions.
It's interesting because we really have 2 different versions of Mojave. So the one that we're currently selling is an AC coupled system. So it's an 8 kilowatt inverter. But what's different about it is not only the ease of install. We don't have the main 3 and all the stuff that you just mentioned with our FP packages. It's a very, very simple load center on there. There's only 2 breakers. There's a third if you actually want to add that generator integration. But we're seeing people use these from, anywhere from smaller homes to apartments to even if you don't have solar. I've seen a number of people that are installing these and they're using the time of use function off of those batteries. Can't sell back to the grid, but you can definitely run your home from 4 to 9 here in California when it's most expensive off a Mojave battery, and then recharge it while you're sleeping when power is less expensive. So even folks that don't have solar, Mojave is a really, really good fit for a lot of folks. And then we offer system edge packages. We partnered with Hoy Miles, a microinverter company. We offer the 1,500 watt inverters with that, and we'll either sell them in packages of 2 or 6. So if you're a person that has different pitches on your roofs, different gables, you got some tree shading issues where you really want to dial in, modular level control, then AC coupled Mojave is a great way to go for that. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the new one we've got coming out here, I would say September-ish, is the DC Mojave. And it's world-class. It's a 10 kilowatt inverter. You can stack up to 3 of those. It's outdoor rated. It works with all the major third-tier lithium batteries, closed-loop communication with our lithium Mojave battery. And I really think that's going to be a game changer. A lot of people already like what they're seeing from that inverter. So,
wow, that's awesome. And you touched on something that people don't notice. I mentioned the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act.
mm-hmm.
Most people don't realize that the standalone storage, system it qualifies for the 30% federal tax credit. In other words, no solar.
This is the first year I believe they've offered that too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's really going after that like they should. I mean, That's a real opportunity where someone might want to save some money on their bill and have some battery backup. And by the time you get the 30% federal tax credit and you take the savings you can get by discharging the battery when the rates are high to your loads and charging the battery from the grid at overnight when the rates are low, as an example, you can kind of game the system to make that battery system pay for itself in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's always been the barrier to entry with energy storage. It's just the high cost of some of these systems, especially when you start talking about lithium batteries to power your entire home. But you're right. When you go through, somebody like Soligent that's well-versed in this, that can coach their customers on the different programs that are available, well, that ROI becomes a lot shorter than if you know how to work the system in your favor. I mean, there's all sorts of local incentives, but that federal tax credit is available to everybody. Whereas, there's a lot of great incentives, like I said, locally as well, depending where you live. But those are usually on a first-come, first-served basis. There's a fairly lengthy application process on those, so definitely still take advantage of those. But the federal tax credit can be used in addition to those, and it's available to everyone.
That's awesome. And grid tie, off-grid, battery backup, you can do it all pretty much. It's amazing. Now, speaking of doing it all, though, some systems are larger, some systems are smaller. Talk about the scalability. Is there some scalability available?
Yeah, like I said, on our new DC Mojave, so again, it's a 10 kilowatt system. You can stack up to 3 of those, so you can get 30 kilowatts of power. And you can put 15 kilowatts of solar through each of those. It's got built-in charge controllers. Everything is programmable. They're all Wi-Fi hotspots, so you can do it through any handheld device, iPad, desktop computer, laptop computer, however you want to do that. There's, like I said, no more Mate 3 controller on the new one. So it makes it very simple to program and commission that system. But you can stack up to 3 of those, and that's plenty of power for most folks. For the true off-grid folks, we still do have the Radiant system as well. And you can stack, I believe, up to 10 of those. So that would give you, 80 kilowatts of power through our traditional Radiant system. So we kind of separate it to what we call our legacy products, which is probably what everybody's familiar with now, and then our Mojave platform. But yeah, definitely some scalability on both of those systems that should be able to fit pretty much anybody's needs. Like I said, from your AC coupled home that has some shading issues to somebody that's off-grid with our Radiant platform, to the 3-phase systems with our FXR inverters, to now our DC Mojave that's coming out. That's really state-of-the-art.
Off-grid. Off-grid, I heard it. Hold on. Off-grid, hello, I heard it. I heard it. You drew me in with that one, listeners.
Yep.
Ryan Warrick with us from Outback Power, regional sales manager for the Western United States of America, and a partner here with us here at Soligent. Do you want your Outback Power solutions? Click on the link below to find out more. Outback Power, working with us here at Soligent to empower you to help us create this emissions-free future. You said off-grid. Off-grid is the most confusing thing to the customer, the end user, because they get their average bill and or even the installer that just does grid tie only that's new to this. Welcome to the show. We're here to teach and learn ourselves. And so we're glad that you're here. So Ryan, for that listener that's tuning in, that's like that's in that camp, confused, like, wait a second, I only need a 10 kW PV array, or a 20 kW PV array because that's what my average daily kilowatt hours usage says that I need, and I'm going to take my whole house off grid. It doesn't work that way. Averages don't work when you're dealing with off grid. You need a load evaluation. You need the max kilowatt hours of energy used on a max use day. Average is not allowed. Talk about that. And why?
Yeah, and something nice for folks that are in that situation that are new to energy storage, we actually have a system sizing tool on our Outback Power website that anybody can access, and you can actually plug in specific loads to the granular level, from how many light bulbs you have to what size microwave you've got, how many refrigerators you have, and it'll give you a very good idea of exactly what you're going to need to pull off your specific situation using Outback Power equipment. So I would steer folks that are new to this whole industry to that system sizing tool. I think it's really valuable myself. And it's interesting because I actually was, new to the whole renewable storage industry probably within the last 5 years. I worked for a company called Bay City Electric. That's the Kohler generator distributor for California. And they had options. They wanted to get into the energy storage market as well. They saw the writing on the wall with fossil fuels and the way things are moving. And, they wanted to offer a renewable storage system. And being a Kohler distributor, they had their options to pick from pretty much anybody out there. And one, the generator connectivity that Outback provides, but also the reliability, the customer service track record, and the simplicity of that system is really why they chose that. And that's actually how I ended up at Outback today. I was so impressed with them. So there you go.
Yeah. When you're impressed, it makes it real easy to share that enthusiasm with others, doesn't it?
Definitely.
That's how I feel. Ryan Warrick with us from Outback Power here at the Beyond Emissions podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ryan. Off-grid, let's walk through, an off-grid system. You mentioned you're a generator. Your experience lies in the generator world.
Yeah.
When I was at Outback Power class, Roy, our teacher, taught us that basically we want to figure out what's the max KW of everything that might be on in the home at one time. Double that, and that should be your generator, because you want to be able to run the entire house, all the loads, and have enough to charge the batteries at the same time in the event that there's no sun for some reason.
Exactly.
Is that correct? Or talk a little bit about generators for our listeners. I'm glad to have you here,
and
man.
like I said, it's a different model when you're doing it with an energy storage system, because you're right. If you're going to use solely a generator to power your home, you've got to have, I would say, time and a half to, you're right, about twice what you're going to need to power the entire home and the size kilowatts for the generator that you're going to use. Whereas with the battery storage system, really the purpose of that generator, it can power the loads in your home while it's recharging the batteries. But the purpose is mainly to recharge your batteries. And so you're right. If you've got several days, I know there's a lot of parts of the country that are cloud cover a lot of the year. You're not getting quite the sun production that you would in the summer. Well, then your generator is really useful to have. Even I saw a couple of years ago when we had the fires here in California, people relied very heavily on those generators to recharge their batteries because the solar array was not cutting it with the smoke in the air and all the dust. Well, then it's nice to have yet a third redundancy to your system instead of just relying on your solar array or the electric grid to recharge your batteries. And that's really where, like I said, Outback cut its teeth, is with that generator integration into our system.
Yeah, so many technologies that, like I said, benefit so many other companies that have since copied or borrowed the ideas that you originally implemented at Outback Power. The pioneers, the innovators, right? You've got so many innovators. When you walk into Outback Power, you see all the cubicles and you see all the engineers sitting there doing tech support, and it's amazing what can be done remotely like that when you're helping a customer who might be up on the side of a cliff and a mountain by a cabin, some of the circumstances, right? Isn't it amazing, your team, how they're able to help customers like that? That's so awesome.
Definitely.
Talk about that, man.
Yeah, and if I could just touch on the generators again really quick before I address that.
Oh, no, yeah, keep it going, yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of systems out there that say they offer generator connectivity, when in all actuality, like, you need a transfer switch, you need extra equipment, which takes up wall space, and really what it's going to do is turn on the generator to power your loads when your batteries run out. But it's not going to recharge your batteries on a lot of these systems out there like ours does. There's more and more of them that are able to do that nowadays, But still, a lot of the name brands out there on the market, you can get the generator to turn on and power your house if your batteries are dead, but they're not going to recharge your batteries. And that's really the benefit of having a fully integrated generator into your system like ours provides. So,
and by the way, we're beyond emissions. So you think, wait a minute, wouldn't you want to not have a generator? Well, think about it. We're not saying that this is a totally emissions-free future in reality. We'll never eliminate all CO2. That's impossible. And you've got an off-grid system that was fully running on the generator, burning fuel, fossil fuels. But now because of energy storage, Outback Power Solutions available right here at Soligent, you're able to decrease that generator runtime, and the energy that's available now can come from the energy storage of the batteries and be powered up with the PV array. So we're not saying we want everything running on the generator and burn fuel and fossil fuels. No, the exact opposite. The generator is really just a little bit of a stopgap. And just as needed, basically. I mean, it can run by itself if it's sized correctly, but the goal is to not really ever have to do that, right?
Right, exactly. And, I would say more than half of our customers probably don't integrate the generator into the system, but they all have that capability to do so if they desire. A lot of the off-grid customers that we were speaking about earlier, those are the customers that usually have a generator integrated in the system, just because, like I said, anything from the cloud cover to the, public safety shutoffs that you get in Northern California to spotty power grids, right? So there's all sorts of reasons that you would want to do that if you were off-grid. Where I'm at, like I said, I'm actually located in Southern California. We rarely have power outages, and I don't even think I could put a generator just because of setback requirements and noise requirements and all the rest. And so I would say the bulk of our customers these days, unless they're truly living off-grid, probably don't integrate the generator into the system, but all have the capability to do so if they wanted to.
This is a request now that you've walked down this generator path. Ryan Warrick from Outback Power with us on the Beyond Emissions podcast. Click on the link below and get some Outback Power Solutions available from Soligent today. So since you've got that background with generators, and we'll touch on the tech support that we were going to talk about. You have an amazing team there. I want to give them props. So many of our customers have sat there on the line, and gotten remote support as your people. People are everything, and Outback Power has amazing people in tech support. There to help you. I mean, wait, I don't know what to do. What's the low cutout voltage? Here, get your battery supplier spec sheet out. Let's see. Okay, all right, this is what you need to input in. I mean, it's very cool. We'll talk about that in just a second. But since you talked about the generators, I want to pick your brain a little bit. This is just your opinion. Nobody's going to get sued for saying anything positive or negative. I just want your unbiased opinion. That's all it is. Yeah. First Amendment right here. So
there you go.
Curious, talk about some of the generators that are out there that our customers might use, and which generators are the best and why, and maybe if you don't mind, which ones, should they steer clear from?
Yeah, so, it's interesting. I'm a little preferential towards Kohler generators just because of my relationship with Bay City Electric, but I did get to see a lot of the brands that are out there. I know Generac's got a large share of the market as well. Something different about the Kohler generators is they use the vertical shaft engine. So basically, to put that in simple terms, most of the generators that you find on the market have what's essentially like a fancy lawnmower engine, the way it's set up and the way it rotates, which means that there's a lot of adjustments because it'll get out of balance all the time. And so you're constantly having to do maintenance on those generators, whereas the Kohler generators are very maintenance-free, and with the two-wire start, integrate very easily into our system. So, again, I'm a little preferential towards Kohler, but also high quality on those systems. You rarely see a Kohler generator go down. You see generators from years and years ago, a lot like the Outback equipment that you see people that have had for 20-some years, and it's still running fine. Kohler makes a great generator. So,
yeah, my friend Brooke Hanner, Offline Solar Electric.
Yeah, I know Brooke.
You know Brooke? Oh my
I've
God.
been to Brooks' business several times up there.
Brooke,
Mariposa, I believe, right?
Mariposa, California.
Down
Brooke,
to.
he and I are buddies, and he actually is a mentor of mine. He taught me what a kilowatt hour is.
Yeah.
Wow, what a small world. Brooke actually went up to the second Outback class that I went to. He actually went to that one. Joined.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool.
Yeah, he was actually a customer of mine through Bay City back when I was with them. So.
Wow. Yeah. When you're talking about Kohler, I was like, God, it sounds like Brooke talking right now.
Yep.
That's exactly what Brooke would have said. Brooke Hanner, Offline Solar Electric. Go to offlinesolar.com today, offlinesolar.com. What is it? 24. Let me find his number, folks. I want to make sure we give him props. He's now working with us here at Soligent. So let's go there.
Wow.
Offline Solar Electric. That's it. Mariposa, California. And you guys can give Brooke a call. Let him know you heard him, his business here on the Beyond Emissions podcast. Give Brooke a call.
Talk to Tracy on there as well. She's usually in the office at Offline Solar, so Tracy's great too.
That's right, Tracy. Yep. 209-742-6333. That's 209-742-6333. Or go to offlinesolar.com, a mutual friend of Ryan and I. What a cool dude, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely
willing to help anybody. You call that guy and you're like, hey, I'm just curious about something. You have a second? I want to ask you a question. He'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't do that these days. He does. It's so cool.
Yeah. What was the question there?
The question?
Yes, sir.
No. There was no question.
Oh, I'm sorry. It cut out for just a second. So.
Oh, no question. I'm like, question? The question is, why haven't you got your Soligent dealer app completed yet, listeners? Because go to soligent.net today, become a dealer, click on the link below, and you could get Outback Power Solutions. But yeah, Brooke said the same thing. Kohler, two-wire start. Very cool. So let's talk about that. The original question we had, which was customer service support. So many people sitting on the side of a mountain like Brooke, and his team, and they need to call up to figure out, what is going on here. And It's amazing from that remote standpoint how your engineers are able to shut their eyes, go into their theater of the mind, and get on the job site almost like transcendentally. It's amazing. Talk about that.
Well, it's interesting because as a former distributor myself, I work with a lot of installers directly, and for a couple of different reasons. One, a lot of these off-grid sites, you don't have internet connectivity to do the whole traditional, we're going to go on our app or the website and try to figure it out, because you can't get wireless service in some of these areas, right? So you're correct. If you can call in and get a live person on the phone, which you always can at Outback Power, that's a huge bonus to any installer. And I won't mention names. I sold several other brands while I was with Bay City Electric as well, and I did not have the same experience because I ended up on a lot of those technical support lines as well, some of which didn't even have a line. It was more of like an online wait list almost, if you will, to get anybody to talk to you. But not only can you get somebody, you're right, they're world-class service. A lot of engineers that work for Outback Power that had a hand in designing some of our systems and know our systems in and out. So that's really where I learned a great bulk of what I know about Outback Power before I even worked with them, is through that technical support line. So we use a couple of different metrics to kind of weigh the effectiveness of our customer support and technical support department. So the first one that we use is called an immediate resolution score. So basically anything over 60% is considered world-class. And all the resolution score is, were you able to get your question answered satisfactorily the first call without having to call back and do other things? Well, remember I said anything over 60% is world-class using that metric. Well, we're at 89%. So we're almost the perfect score on there, resolving people's issues the very first time they call in. Something else we use is called a net promoter score. So the Net Promoter Score, are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, it's your willingness to go and tell other people, like if I'm out at the grocery store and I just start talking about, for example, they called that for the company we work for previously, that I worked for previously, we called that, are you a promoter? When you're out
Right.
there, do you just start talking about, how great this is or that is that your company does? Like, you can't help but to do it, kind of thing.
Yep, exactly. Well, I was going to say on that one, there's a whole survey that goes out on the pre and post sales support. And, again, we rank world class on that one as well. So 2 metrics we kind of use to just gauge our effectiveness in technical support and customer service, both of which, from a third party survey, world class. So I agree. I love Outback Power technical support. I've learned a great deal from all of them over there.
Ryan Warrick with us today, Outback Power, Western Regional Manager for the United States of America, and of course a partner here with us, providing great service as well for us and our customers here at Soligent. We appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for being on the show today and explaining a lot of great stuff, especially getting to pick your brain about generators. That's an area I think a lot of people would like to learn. Let's go ahead and back clean up though. Let's close out, hit a grand slam, loop back, if you will, to the Mojave. That's really what is brand new right now. And, to go back to what we were talking about with Jake Taylor and the video that we watched, installing that, like, it's so fast and saving, time and labor. And, that makes a company more successful and also helps them become more competitive in the pricing and systems and programs they can offer their customers, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like you said, to bring it home, I was actually just up at the CALSA lobbying event at Sacramento, I think a week ago. And kind of the presentation that I gave there was just Outback Power's journey from, like I said, pioneers in the off-grid storage field to now innovators of modern technology for grid-tied and demand charge customers, but still with off-grid connectivity for all of our systems. So I'm really excited about the direction the company is moving, especially with this new Mojave system. Again, options for anybody that's got shading issues. We've got the AC coupled Mojave to a little bit more robust system with the 10 kilowatt DC Mojave that'll be coming out here early fall. That's a scalable outdoor rated system, and everything is, I would say, ahead of what the industry standard is now. We've got full remote connectivity, all app-based, no more desktop optics RE on these systems, all app-based like you can see everybody else has these days, but I think better with the level of connectivity it has and the view that you have of your system, and especially as an installer, being able to remote in and save yourself a truck roll to, I know some of these places are far away from where the business is located. And if you can remote into these systems like you can on all of ours and solve 95% of the issues remotely, well, that's a huge bonus to you as an installer. So I'm excited about Mojave, but also, the direction Outback's moving, like I said, the smart panel, the electric vehicle charges, the energy software that we're developing right now. So a lot of good things coming out of Outback here.
Oh, especially in California with the mandate on electrical vehicles. Mm-hmm. Wow. I have a question for you. I get this call all the time. I want to make sure I size my PV array and battery system to account for my EV charger and my EV electrical vehicle. And generally speaking, you really wouldn't want to take another battery to charge a big giant battery. If I have an 80 kilowatt hour battery in my Tesla, that means I need a additional, if I'm trying to charge at night and I'm not charging during the daytime because I'm off working and I come home and I don't want to use the grid, I want to use the PV array produced energy. So I would need to oversize my PV array by, to whatever, let's see here, if 80 divided by 5, what would that be, 40 kW of PV array that I would need, and then I would need to have 80 kilowatt hours plus 20% to be at 80% depth of discharge, so 100 kilowatt hour of additional battery just to have enough energy to transfer that at night to my electrical vehicle and have that be something that was produced by the PV array. not by the utility. Generally speaking, that doesn't pencil out. But that's kind of how I've always thought it would have. Am I thinking about this wrong? Is there another way to go outside of the box for our EV customers?
You're starting to see a lot of these bidirectional EVs that they're starting to come out with now. You're right. I mean, the biggest draws on any battery on the market has always been, your 5-ton ACs, your electric ovens, your electric vehicles. And before, we partnered with all these third-party electric vehicle chargers and smart panels and everything else. But now that we're developing our own, we're really trying to hone that in to be a more efficient system. And not only efficient, but just provide a one-stop shop. So you're not having to go to this guy to get your batteries and this guy to get your inverter, this guy your, EV charger. We're trying to provide everything through Outback Power and make it more efficient. I would say, definitely, I would oversize my battery system a little bit if you have an EV, especially now that things have transferred to NEM 3.0. There are parts of the year, I believe, especially in September, where it behooves you to have extra batteries and store up that energy and actually export back to the grid from your batteries instead of just from your solar array. Because of certain day parts and the incentives they put on those for exporting back to the grid. Because guess what? That's when the demand is, right? When everybody's home from work. And so therefore, they're going to reward you more for that if you have the batteries to support a system like that. So yeah, a little bit more of a, I guess an investment on the front end. But to your point, like we talked about earlier, federal tax credit, things like the S-chip program here in California, there's similar things in a lot of states. There's ways to really reduce that ROI and really take advantage of it, even under NEM 3.0. In fact, I would say, especially under NEM 3.0, really behooves you to have a battery storage system instead of just your traditional grid-tied solar array. Yeah,
and remember, you have the ability, even if you did not go the solar direction, you have the ability to do standalone storage, and this Outback Power system offers that capability. Yep. Yeah. So it's been a fun time. Like, I can't believe it, man. Like, it feels like we've known each other forever. Like you could have been in one of those Outback Power classes that I was at.
Well, you never know. Don't say that. They might get me teaching one here sooner than later. So we'll don't put me in that position.
That is so cool. That is so cool. You'll have to have me come to one sometime. I would love it.
I'm going to leave that to Jorge for now. He does a much better job than I do. So.
Oh, he's amazing. Especially again, Watt School. Go to Outback Power's YouTube channel, Watt School. Electrical theory as well. I mean, they cover everything, not just your materials, right?
Yeah, these are true engineers running all these training classes that, know this product in and out far better than I ever will. Like you said, I'm a sales guy and I know my way around Outback fairly well, but the people running these classes and technical support, they're top notch. So
nice. Well, thanks for being on the show, and thank you for
having me.
Oh, my pleasure. A chance to talk, educate, learn, all in one spot right here at the Beyond Emissions podcast. Ryan Warrick, Western Regional Sales Manager for the Western United States. Thank you so much for joining us on the show and supporting it. I mean, your customer service is amazing. You're always reaching out. I appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right. Well, have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Hang on the line for our engineers.
Sounds good.
Outback Power's very own Ryan Warrick here joining us. Off-grid, on-grid, battery backup, three-phase, generators, new technology out like the Mojave, AC coupled, DC coupled, time of use, peak shaving, wonderful customer support, tie in a generator, like I said, the ability to do so many things. The old FX model, the sealed version that can be outdoors, so much cool stuff. And they're also owned now by Enersys, battery specialist, one of the largest battery manufacturers on planet Earth, right here in good old United States of America. Outback Power, available, their solutions at Soligent. Click on the link below right now to find out more and get your Outback solutions available right here at Soligent. And thank you for joining us. Becoming more knowledgeable every day helps us to help our customers, empowering them to help us create an emissions-free future, a world that is beyond emissions. I'm Josh Brumm, Energy Storage Manager here at Soligent and host of Beyond Emissions, brought to you by Soligent, the largest pure play solar distributor in the Americas. Have a great day.
We at Soligent are incredibly excited to announce our partnership with GivePower. Well, we wouldn't be here today talking to you about GivePower if it wasn't for our partners, LoanPal. They've been with GivePower since the beginning. Their contribution has given water and light to countless people across the globe. We are truly inspired by LoanPal's dedication to the cause. Something LoanPal said really strikes a chord regarding GivePower, that this is something that's more than money. It's what makes making money more worthwhile. In a lot of ways, that's synonymous with what we're doing here at Soligent.
Here's how you can help.
What we've decided to do is compound LoanPal's contribution by donating to GivePower on every order paid via our direct pay program through LoanPal. That's right. Every time your company uses your LoanPal portal to pay Soligent for material, 5 people get clean drinking water for a full year.
Together we're stronger.
Together, we can choose to be extraordinary by giving to people who live outside our reach. To us, this means a lot more.
Soligent's purpose meets GivePower's mission. Join the impact. Soligent, Solar Engine. SolarEngineSolutions.com. Go there to find out more.